wait, but let's go. So it's you and Carolyn and you, right? Carolyn suggests the group. Okay, before. And then,
Okay. Well, after we were no longer bused to the other school, we went to the school bishop, and it was at that time when we had our school had a talent show, and our school said, if you want to be a part of this talent show, sign up in the gymnasium wall, and you'd be on the show. So here I am, loving Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. I saw them on some show, and this was the beginning of rock and roll. And I fell in love with Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. So when I saw the sign on the gymnasium wall about being a part of a show, I said, "Oh, okay." And I dressed up in my brother's blue jeans and black leather jacket, and back then the colored boys, the black boys, Afro Americans we say now, wore processed hair. So I had a do-wet rag tied around my head, a big comb in my pocket, and I went up there and I pantomimed to Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers song. This is very odd. I just want to regress a minute here why I would do that, because my only experience in this was having sung with Carolyn Franklin for a little bit, and then we were bussed back to Bishop. And now I see on TV these guys singing, fell in love with the Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers, and now I'm signing up for this show. And I'm like, I didn't think about this then, but as I think about it now, where did that come from? It wasn't like I said I want to be a singer or whatever. I mean, these things are just kind of coming into my lap, and I'm just following. So I went up there, and I never even thought I could sing. I never even thought about it. And I pantomimed to that record. Well, the crowd in the gymnasium went wild. They were like, "Go, Mary, go, Mary, go!" And I mean, I had the crowd just like going. And I'm only 12 or 12 and a half, something like that. So then Florence was on the same. I guess she had signed up. I didn't know her, but she lived in the project. In the projects, there are thousands of people. You may see them, but you don't really know them all the time. So she sang, and she actually was singing. She said, "Oh, Maria," and everybody was like, "Whoa!" So as wild as they were about me, we all were like, "She's only 12 and a half too." And this voice was huge and it was big, and she sounded so great. Somehow or another, I don't even remember anybody else on the show at all. Never have, actually. And she and I kind of migrated that day after the show, and we started just talking. And I said, ooh, your voice is so big and so beautiful. And she said, "Girl, you had the crowd going." They were going. Now, I'm a quiet, bashful type. For me to get up there and do that was so out of character. But yet and still, when I did that, it dawned on me that I totally enjoyed doing that and did it so naturally. So it was as if I had been trained, and I had not been. So Florence and I became friends that day, and we talked about, everyone got these little groups of this and that. I used to be with Carolyn, and da 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 da. So we started talking. We said, well, maybe we should start one, or if anyone wants it, let's remember each other. So we walked home that day and became friends. And sure enough, a couple of months later, Florence came up to me on the playground, and she said, "Mary," she said, this group called the Primes want to put a girl group together, and my sister is dating one of the guys, and their manager, Milton Jenkins, wants to know if I want to be in it. She said, "I told them about you," and she said, "Then I heard they were going to go across the street. You know this girl, Diane, that lives right across the street from you?" "Yeah, I've seen her out there. She's always playing with the boys," and da-da-da. They've asked her, and so they want to see us. And we all, me, Diane, Flo, walked down to the guy's apartment. Our parents would have killed us had they known we did that. But we went over to their house, and that's when we met the Primes, Eddie Kendricks, Paul Williams, and Cal Osmond, and the manager, Milton Jenkins. And so they asked us, well, can you girls sing? And so we're like, so Florence said, well, I know this song. And she started singing, the nighttime, and it's the right time, the Ray Charles song. And so Diane, and then there was another girl there, Betty. I guess she had been dating one of the guys, and we all chimed in and sang this song. Not taught anything, and it sounded beautiful. So Milton said, all right, we got the group. We're the Primes, and you're the Primettes. And that's how we started singing.
Can you talk about the night of the Copacabana? Can you talk
Which night? We were there for 2 weeks.
Oh, the first night, the opening. I mean, you don't want to talk about that? Okay.
No, I don't know what do you mean.
Well, I'm just saying, can you talk about let's say, can you talk about the experience?
Oh, okay, sure. The experience. First of all, it was extremely exciting to know, to be rehearsing for a show that could go this way or go that way. And we had enough experience to know that we should be going there. And we rehearsed on all the songs. We knew the songs very well. I think there was only one area where it could have been negative, and that was, I think Florence was supposed to sing People, and that song was chosen not to, she couldn't sing it. I think that was the only downer that I can remember of opening at the Copa. It was extremely exciting. It was a place where Mr. Jules Podell, supposedly this is all mafia and all kind of stuff, and you hear all the stories throughout the years. So it was very exciting to know that we were going to be in that environment, because in a way it kind of put us back into the old mature, in the days when it was a different generation. So we're kind of catching the last part of a generation that's really dying out, and we're there. I remember seeing a contract or something of Sammy Davis, who he was making $5,000, and I think we were making $5,000 too. So things like that were happening, and you're like just so excited that you're actually right now living your dream. So all I remember is that we were actually living our dream. We were there at the Copacabana. The place was packed. We heard that all kinds of people were there. I don't know if it was the first night we were there, if it was Flip Wilson, all kinds of who was or who was there. So yeah, it was, and then during the show was very exciting. Everyone was sitting there and they were very excited. You could tell that they totally were into it. So it was a success. It was to talk about the experience. We lived our dream at the Copacabana. They actually recorded it as well. And I tell you, the other downer was we had on these horrible outfits that we did not like. And someone had bought all these flowers and put them around here, fake flowers, right? We hated those gowns. I know I did. And I remember we tore them off later. But and then we had a straw hats with a cane, and that was the album cover of the album that they recorded there. So that was it was very, very exciting. It was everything you would want a successful night opening to be.
Who was responsible for that? Was it a whole team of people at Motown? And did Berry Gordy sit down and talk to you about the significance of that?
I don't know if Berry had to sit and talk to us about that. Yeah, I don't think that was something that I say that to say we all knew that this was
a big deal,
the biggie. Right. I think that's what I'm saying. It wasn't something that he had said, "Well, girl, we're going to go into Copa." I don't think that had to happen because we had been preparing for that. But there was a team of people, yes, working around us, as I mentioned earlier, the artist development people. But they also had the PR, and I'm not quite sure who they used for that. And then you had the marketing, Barney Ellis, and the sales department. But I think they also had the new public relations team that was helping, because this is New York. So I think we had all kind of New York affiliations there that would help them in that. So it was a full-fledged, everybody was involved in it.
Now the lineup, because you did a whole range of songs. You weren't just doing your pop, your hits. So how were those decisions made?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we actually had been doing loads of standard material. Kind of in our earlier days, that's what we actually. That was our expertise, and I think Barry, in his, knowing that we could go to this next level, understood that they're already doing, this kind of standard material. They call it today American Songbook. They didn't say that back then, but that's what it was. And we were already doing that. So this kind of fit right into the scheme of where they want to be as a company to, because we were already singing those kind of songs. So it just, made sense to continue on. And there's one thing that Mrs. Powell always said, you're diamonds in the rough and we're just here to polish you. So I think that, Barry and Motown, everyone kind of, had said, Supremes, they can do this. Our dream is go there, the Supremes can take us there. So they gave us all the ammunition they had, and we were able to do it.